Hello everyone, this is your instructor Dan Hood and this is Photoshop for Presentations. This is Unit 4 and this is how to create images for PowerPoint. And this is going to be a short video about how to create an impact graphic. Impact graphic, as you have learned from previous videos and slideshows, is what I describe as a graphic that makes a distinctive impact in your presentation. It will be like a one-use graphic to drive home a particular point or concept. So anyway, let's get started. The first thing we'll do is I'm going to show you what we're going to create, because I've already created it once, and I just want to show you what it looks like. You've probably seen this image before. This is the sample impact graphic that I want to use, and it's pretty simple, but the main point is that I want to drive home with this graphic is imagine like having a PowerPoint where I have a slide that talks about this particular cowboy, and maybe it gives his stats like his name and what his crime was and where he was last seen or something. But to really drive home the point of the slide, I would have this graphic next to my copy, next to my content, to show that this guy is a bad guy and that he is wanted. So anyway, that's what I'm going to create. It's pretty simple. It really consists of two different elements. You have the background photo of the cowboy himself, and then with some ghosted white text over him that says wanted. And as you can see, it has a bit of a worn or grungy type look to it, and we are going to create that grungy look with some special effects. So let's go ahead and close this out. Let's start a new, actually in this case what we're going to do, we're not going to start a new graphic, a new document. We're going to open our cowboy image that we've been using in the past. Let's see if I can find him. And we will start with him. I believe this is it. Yes, Cowboy Small JPEG. So we're going to go ahead and open him, and there he is, our dastardly black hat wearing cowboy who is obviously a wanted man. So here we have our cowboy. This is the basic part of our image and actually makes up the most of it, but then we still have to put the wanted sign with the grungy special effect on it. So as you all know, the first thing you would do there is that you would get your text tool and you would click it, and as you see we have our text tool over here. Let's go ahead and let's name that. We'll name it wanted. So we have our text here, and oops, sorry, actually I messed up kind of. Let's go ahead and start again. I'm going to erase both of our text layers and we're going to start again. Okay, so let me go ahead with a new text tool, new text layer, and let's go ahead and let's type out the word wanted first before we name it. As you see, I ran into the problem because I tried to name it before I actually typed out my word, and it tried to bring me to a new text layer. And as you can see, with text layers, I don't even have to name it because it names it for you once you type in your text. Okay, so now we have our text. Right now we have this in a font that's okay, but that's not the one we want to use. We want to use something that's a little blockier, a little chunkier. So let's go to our fonts and let's just find something pretty simple and blocky. I think maybe let's use this one here. You may or may not have this font. It doesn't really matter. Actually, let's go ahead and let's use a font that pretty much everybody should have on their computer. And let's use Arial Black. As you can see, it's a chunky font, big and bold. So we will hit our Move tool. Now we have the wanted. Now that we have our text, let's go ahead and we're going to manipulate that text to make it fill up a larger section of our image. So the way we would do that is that we would go to Free Transform, and what Free Transform does, or Transform, is that it puts the little anchors around any image or element that you wish to transform. In this case, we want to make it taller and wider. So first of all, let's go ahead and we'll stretch it to be wider, so it'll take up most of the width of our image. So there, that looks pretty good. It's nice and wide, but it's still not tall enough. So the next thing we'll do is we'll take the bottom anchor and we'll pull down on it to get taller. And that looks pretty good, but now we want to make it even taller to maybe cover up a little bit of his face. As you can remember from our original image, it did kind of at least fall over at least his chin a little bit. So okay, so that looks pretty good. We have it pretty big. So now, once we have it where we like it, we can go ahead and click the Move tool again. It'll ask you if you want to apply the transformation. You say Apply, and there you have it. Okay, so now the one thing that we're missing on our text, let me open up the other one that I had, the wanted JPEG. As you can see, it's a little different. It's not as wide for one thing. And actually it's a little taller. So I think we may go back and we may change that just a little bit in the one that we are creating now. But as you can see, is that in this one it's ghosted because you can see his features underneath the wanted area. And the way we achieve that is through opacity. Okay, so let's go back to the one we're creating. First of all, we're going to transform it a little bit more to make it a little taller like it is in the other one. And there we go, that's better. Okay, so now the next thing we'll do is that what we're going to have to do, now this is still considered a text layer and is not fully capable of being manipulated. So we want to rasterize this. And once we rasterize it, we won't be able to change the text. But that's okay, we already have what we need here. Wanted, we're not going to change the text. So we can go ahead and rasterize it. Now the way you would do that is that you would right click on your layer, and that brings up some menu items, and here you have rasterize type. So we go ahead and re-rasterize it, and as you can see, it now is turned into an image or an element of the Photoshop document. Okay, so now since we have it rasterized, now we can play with the opacity. And if you remember, the opacity is right here. Let's go ahead and click on that. And here you have a slider. Let's go ahead and just slide that down until we get to a point to where we can see his features underneath the word wanted. And that's pretty good right there, maybe, because you can still see his features, but you can still also make out the word wanted. So we're at 54%. That works out pretty good. So now we have our opacity set. The last thing we need to do is to grunge this up a little bit. So the way we're going to achieve that is that we'll go over here and use the eraser tool right there. Let's go ahead and click the eraser tool, and what that does is that brings up your tool bar up here, and this tells you the certain aspects of your tool. So here you have the showing you that you're using the eraser, and now right now it's in brush mode. As you can see, you have brush mode, pencil mode, and block mode. And as you know, block is just a simple square block that you can use to erase with. Pencil is like using the tip of a pencil, which gives you a harder edge. Using the brush gives you a softer edge. So we're going to use brush, and we're going to use a special kind of brush. Right now we're using basically a round soft brush at 60 pixels. But if I pull this down, I have all sorts of different brushes. And the one brush we're going to use, let's see if I can find it. I have lots of brushes here, so it might take just a few seconds to find the one that I'm looking for. And it may not even be loaded. So we go here, we click on the little arrow. This brings up the menu to load brushes. And right here you have this one that says Grunge Brushed by. This is a special brush that I have picked up off the internet. There are lots and lots of brushes that you can get from the internet. And I grabbed the wrong one. There we go. Grunge brush. And so we're going to go ahead and add that to our brushes. And as you see, we have all these different grunge brushes. So let's go ahead and we'll grab this one. As you can see, it's really large. So right now it's at 957 pixels. Well, that's way too large. So we can go ahead and grab that. Let's pull our slider down till about 67. I think that's probably a pretty good size. The good thing is that you can tell the size of your brush, but when you bring it back over to your image area, and it gives you a representation of how large it is. Actually, this is a pretty good size. So we're going to stop there, and we are simply going to start. Make sure you're on your wanted layer, and just start kind of using that around. And as you can see, it kind of erases out certain areas of the word wanted and is kind of giving it a grungy effect. So now that I've grunged it up, it kind of made it look old. Now we have what we were hoping to achieve, is the word wanted, and grunged it up a little bit with our image in the background, with the opacity set lower so we can see his face through the word wanted. And there you have it. You have your impact graphic that you can place into your PowerPoint to give certain slides more impact. So we're finished with this little tutorial. At the end of our video tutorials, I'll also quickly show you how you can take your different graphics like backgrounds, your impact graphics, your conceptual graphics, and how you actually go about placing them into a PowerPoint document. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next tutorial. Bye.